Yo, it's your dad, King Bullet. So I'm like the most knowledgeable Naruto dude on the planet, maybe the universe. Ironically, that might actually be true, so it's illegal to not subscribe to me. This video may be different to the common ones you see all the time on this topic, and boy do I have a topic for you today. A lot of you might think it's really one-sided, but I assure you it's not. The topic of today's video is Neji vs Sasuke within the Chūnin exams. So this matchup is quite interesting because both are in very similar situations. Both are from prestigious clans and are both prodigies within those clans, both looking down upon those weaker than them, but later learning valuable lessons from those with growth mindsets. So the versions of the two I'm using are the ones from the Chūnin exams, and this is like a hypothetical to see who would win in a fight between them if these two were matched up with each other in the Chūnin exams. One of the reasons I think this is a really cool matchup is because this is a fight that a lot of people wanted to see. Kishimoto, the author himself, found this matchup really interesting, and a lot of people voted for this to actually be a matchup according to the official fan book. So let's get into this. Let's start off with Sasuke. Just like his older brother Itachi, Sasuke is recognized as a natural prodigy of the Uchiha clan. He's one of the last surviving members of Konoha's Uchiha clan. After his older brother Itachi slaughtered their entire clan, Sasuke made it his life's goal to avenge them by killing his brother. He was added to Team 7 upon becoming a ninja, and through this completion, he became rivals and best friends with Naruto Uzumaki. Around this time, base Sasuke has the same speed as Rock Lee. This is at the beginning of his fight with Gaara. Base Sasuke gets even faster. According to my guy, he's as fast as Weightless Lee's average speed. So with his Sharingan, he should actually be faster and stronger, since we see even when he gets like a single Tomoe in his Sharingan, he goes from being beat down by Kurama amped Naruto to now being able to avoid his attacks through precognition and is even able to overwhelm him with power. Now, according to the data book, Gaara's strongest opponent physically is Sasuke, and this is in reference to power, as shown by the picture displayed by the data book right next to the text. Sasuke was also capable of putting Gaara on his knees, a feat that Rock Lee wasn't capable of replicating, meaning that he fatigued Gaara that much. And when using the Chidori, according to Rock Lee himself, Sasuke when using Chidori should be faster than himself entirely, possibly faster than his reverse lotus. While in the 5th gate, it should be noted it does take Sasuke some time to charge up, and it doesn't scale to his normal speed. Since we know the Chidori is so quick that it's beyond your usual perception, that's why you need the Sharingan. Sasuke is most likely stronger and faster than Rock Lee even in his 5th gate, and using his reverse lotus. The reverse lotus is like an amp to Rock Lee the same way the Chidori is like an amp to Sasuke. Now I am going to talk about Konoha Crush Sasuke. I know technically he isn't Chūnin exam Sasuke, but at the same time he kind of is, since Sasuke in Konoha Crush is just him going all out, using his full arsenal, which he didn't in the Chūnin exams against Gaara earlier. So during the Konoha Crush arc, Sasuke fights above par with a slightly transformed Gaara. So Gaara has like one arm transformed. Just to keep it really simple, I'm going to call this version 1 Gaara. Now if I'm being completely honest, version 1 Gaara is too fast and too strong for Sasuke. Sasuke needs a Chidori in order to keep up with him in speed and to even harm him. Tamari states when Sasuke is using the Chidori that both him and Gaara are monsters capable of harming each other. We've already established Chidori Sasuke is faster than Rock Lee at his fastest. However, base Sharingan Sasuke is nowhere near this speed. That's the reason he needs distance between him and version 1 Gaara. If you look carefully, they're like dozens of meters apart. So we can charge up the Chidori, otherwise he's getting outsped by Gaara. He even states when he avoids Gaara that he's actually using precognition and predicting his movements, and if he didn't have a Sharingan, Gaara would have killed him in that instance. You might be able to claim he's making small movements and still somewhat reacting to this Gaara. So if anybody wants to calculate it and be like, well technically he's like 10% of Gaara's speed, sure, but he's still getting outsped here. So that's how strong Sasuke should be. Note one of the other reasons Sasuke could have been relative in power or capable of harming this Gaara is since he had like an elemental advantage, since he uses like lightning style, and obviously Gaara's main method of defense is using his sand, which is like earth style. Now what kind of hacks and skills does he have? Well, we know he's really intelligent, that goes without saying. He has precognition and clairvoyance with his Sharingan, meaning he can slightly see the future, predict what's gonna happen, and react to attacks prior, like he did with Gaara in this fight, ironically, where he like aim dodges his attacks. Now this should wrap up Sasuke. Anyway, moving on. Neji. Neji Hyuga is a shinobi of the Leaf's Hyuga clan, the greatest genius in his clan's history, a prodigy. Neji was a member of the clan's branch house, so no matter how much he trained, he would always be in service to the Hyuga's main house, even being branded and having a curse mark on his forehead reminding him of this, the main branch even capable of forcefully restraining him via this curse mark. His father and Yahashi were both twin brothers, so either could have been leader, but one of them was born slightly earlier than the other, making Yahashi the clan's leader. This fact kind of convinced him that one's fate was predetermined. Now, a lot of people misunderstand the fight between Neji and Naruto. It wasn't necessarily about being destined for greatness, but rather your mentality and how you treat others because of your status. So essentially, Neji treated others how the main branch treated him. Neji kind of became the manifestation of his clan's philosophy. Naruto kind of refused to be limited by this fixed mindset and looking down upon others due to your fortune and luck, really. After fighting Naruto, Neji realized that his fate was his to choose alone. So this was kind of like the reason Neji was kind of randomly knocked out by Naruto, I believe, to kind of show that this luck and intelligence are also elements in a fight, once again kind of contradicting Neji's fatalism. So how strong is Neji? Well, Lee states that Neji is the strongest junior member of his team. By this, he means he would win in a fight, and obviously you need to be able to tag your opponent in order for this to be the case. But Lee may actually have an inferiority complex, which is actually a possibility. However, the sensei backs this up by stating that he sees why Lee regards Neji as his greatest foe, quote unquote. So his statements already seem consistent with the narrative that Neji is stronger than Lee, and no matter how hard Lee trains, he can't surpass Neji with talent, and that's one of the main reasons Lee wants to fight him, to prove that he can beat him with hard work alone. Obviously, if this never happens, Lee loses in the preliminaries versus Gaara, so Naruto has to pick up his burden. Anyway, speaking about the preliminaries, Neji is faced with Hinata, his cousin, and he completely outmatches her, to the point it's not even considered a fair fight, not even using his full strength. And we know he wasn't using his full strength, since Konkoro speculates Neji was holding back a lot of his strength. And if anything, Neji was kind of toying with her. He even almost kills her, and has his sadistic smile once the fight is over. Neji required 4 Chūnin to stop him, opposed to Gaara only having 1 Might Guy during his fight with Lee, which is oddly surprising, I think. So we know that Lee fought Gaara, obviously, and during this fight, Lee went into his 5th gate to use a reverse lotus, and Neji was actually one of the only people who could perceive him, whereas the other genin couldn't even see him since they are moving at such a high pace. So that's a really interesting perception feat. And yes, Neji was shocked by Lee, but I don't think he was shocked by Lee because he thought he was weaker than Lee, but I think it was rather because he thought Lee was nothing but a talentless bum. But in reality, Lee is actually ridiculously strong, somebody who might actually rival him. Slightly prior to this, Might Guy does say Lee's speed is unsurpassable. However, we know Might Guy is actually a little bit biased and favors Lee, as stated in the data book. So we all know Might Guy, as Rock Lee is going in using his reverse lotus on Gaara, says is that the only way to beat Neji is through a high speed attack like the reverse lotus. So Lee has gone into his 5th gate and is now preparing to use his reverse lotus, his strongest and fastest attack. Now we know that the lotus additionally multiplies one's strength dozens of times over. 1 dozen is at least 12, so by dozens, which is plural, implies it's at least 2, so 2 sets of 12, so at least a 24 times amp. So because Lee is in the 5th gate already when using this reverse lotus, the reverse lotus gives him an additional 24 times greater strength, but number isn't really important. All you need to know is that the reverse lotus at this period of time is way beyond his regular stats, even in the 5th gate. I think everyone can actually agree on that. So what's interesting about this is Lee states that he was saving this 5th gate reverse lotus for Neji. I hate it when people say, oh, he just wanted to show him or show how much he had trained. Obviously, Lee doesn't want to kill Neji or himself. This isn't just a move he can randomly show off. He literally takes his weights off. He's literally only allowed to take his weights off when there's an emergency and he needs to sacrifice his body in order to save somebody he loves. So the fact that he has to take his weights off, go 5th gate, and use his greatest move just for Neji means he has to, not that he wants to. Since using the 5th gate is dangerous, his bones begin to crack, his muscles rip apart, and he may possibly kill himself and Neji. Lee even has a lack of control, as his movements become linear, as his face goes red and eyes go white. This means Lee thinks that he needs not just the 5th gate, but his strongest ability or his strongest move, the reverse lotus, in order to take down Neji. And the fact that he doesn't want to kill him kind of implies Neji might actually survive this, which he actually can, as I will explain later. And what is required is a 5th gate reverse lotus, which is significantly even more faster than just the 5th gate in raw speed, as I proved earlier. This just tells us how extremely fast Neji is, that we have 2 consistent sources saying that Neji is at least as fast as the 5th gate, if not faster than it, alongside Neji perceiving it on all of these statements prior. After the preliminaries end, Neji gets 1 month to train before he fights Naruto, and according to the data book, he never forgets to train, with a Spartan-like personality. So the fight between Naruto and Neji begins. Neji completely outclasses him, showing Neji has great ability in Tenketsu and combat intelligence, using his palms to hit Naruto's pressure points. This style of fighting is known as a gentle fist. He's considered a Chūnin level, so he can emit chakra from not just one body part at a time like normal Chūnin, but from his whole body, meaning he's probably beyond Chūnin level, which is pretty consistent. So Neji uses the rotation, which is really impressive. It's a jutsu passed down by the main branch of Hyuga, something Neji wasn't taught but recreated himself because he's a genius. The rotation is considered an absolute defense that is even more powerful than Gaara's, according to Tenten, but it's also backed up by the data book saying it's in a same league as Gaara's defense. It seems to even anger Gaara. So because Gaara's stand could still technically cushion him just about from Lee's 5th gate reverse lotus, this means Neji could potentially survive as well. But apparently this wasn't even the end or a full display of Neji's true power. Neji uses the 8 trigrams, 64 palms, a stance that actually shocks Yuhashi. Neji, according to Yuhashi, surpassed his entire clan, and his clan is actually considered the strongest clan within the village. So this would place Neji beyond Yuhashi, and Yuhashi actually defeated a shinobi ruler from the Cloud Village. And apparently shinobi rulers are actually beyond normal Jonin. They even get their own land. They're like a pseudo Kage, so this makes Neji look really impressive. So anyway, Naruto gets all of his chakra points blocked by Neji. Obviously Naruto uses chakra from Kurama to unlock his pressure points. Naruto becomes drastically stronger, however him and Naruto match each other, so they're roughly around the same level. They both throw a kunai at the same time. Neji's rotation matches his attacks. If anything, Neji kinda overwhelms him, so Neji actually might be slightly stronger. Neji, thinking he's won the fight, begins to walk off. Tenten even states that there's no genin that can defeat Neji, meaning he'd be stronger than all of the other genin, but obviously Tenten's a little bit biased. She literally simps for the guy. So anyway, Naruto's walking away after thinking he's defeated Naruto, but then Naruto catches him completely off guard, and with a single uppercut knocks him out, or rather hits him so hard he falls to the ground, but is unable to move the rest of his body, but is still conscious, which is a little bit weird. This was obviously unfortunate, but Neji did learn a lesson, I suppose. So that should close off Neji's section. So now we can move into the conclusion to who actually wins this fight between Neji and Sasuke. So who has more attack potency? Who's like physically stronger? Well, I'm going to provide even more interesting information that I said I was going to come back to. You know how Sasuke can't even keep up with version 1 Gaara, and he needs Chidori in order to keep up with him and harm him? Well, as that Gaara is rushing to literally kill Sasuke, so Gaara was going all out here, literally base Naruto comes and intercepts him with a kick, sending Gaara flying. Gaara then transforms even further. I call this like version 2 Gaara, where he has like most of his body covered at this point. So base Naruto still does a good job in keeping up with this version 2 Gaara. You could even pick up Gamakichi, cover him completely so he's protected, so technically react, while version 2 Gaara uses Sand Shuriken. Naruto could also tank version 2 Gaara's wind style, even more of his attacks, even more, and was even capable of reacting to this Gaara, flipping all the way around him. Just for reference, Neji was kind of destroying like a base Naruto. Now you might be asking, well, how do we know this is the same Naruto? This is right after the Chūnin exams. Perhaps he got stronger. Number 1, the Neji fight wasn't even that long ago. It was literally before the Sasuke vs Gaara match. So I doubt Naruto got stronger. It's not like we saw him training or him participate in any more fights after this. Number 2, versus version 2 Gaara, he could hardly summon Gamakichi. But versus Neji, once he got that Kurama amp, stronger than he was in training. And during that 1 month training, he could literally summon Gamabunta. So versus Neji, he was stronger than the Naruto that fought version 2 Gaara. Should scale to Sasuke, if not above him. Gaara actually tells this Naruto to use the power he used against Neji, so he believes that Naruto that fought Neji was even stronger than him. Otherwise there would be no reason for Gaara to bring this up. So if the version of Naruto Gaara was fighting currently was stronger than Kurama Amp Naruto, then surely he would want to fight the strongest version of Naruto since he's already matching him. Why would he want to fight a weaker one? He's clearly bloodlusted here, and Gaara knows he can transform further. And obviously version 2 Gaara is stronger than version 1 Gaara, the one that Sasuke was fighting and matching, meaning that Gaara believes Neji is also stronger than Sasuke. This is some really basic scaling, I think. Now the real question is, let's say Sasuke used Chidori. Could it actually penetrate the rotation? Well, we don't really know. You can argue it does or it doesn't, but it really doesn't matter. What's really noteworthy to kind of confirm this scaling is that Kakashi, Sasuke's own teacher, hears that Neji is like the strongest genin and even puts this in his official report for Naruto vs Neji. Obviously he knows how strong Sasuke is, and he never at any point says that this is actually a lie, even putting this in the report. And you know, reports are meant to be kind of truthful. This report can be found in the official fan book, which is written by the author Kishimoto. So Neji should be more powerful than Sasuke. But is he faster than Sasuke? Neji is absolutely faster than Sasuke, since I've already proved that Neji is faster than base Naruto, and base Naruto is at least as fast as version 2 Gaara. Sasuke was barely contending with version 1 Gaara, even using his Chidori, which doesn't even scale to his normal base speed. So if Sasuke isn't using Chidori, which he doesn't scale to because it's beyond his perception, remember? Well, then his base speed is at least as fast as base weightless Lee, obviously slightly faster with the Sharingan and Curse Mark. We don't exactly know how much faster they make you, but remember we skilled like Neji to Lee's reverse lotus, which is dozens of times above his base speed. No offense, but the Sharingan does not make you that much faster, and Curse Mark 1 is nowhere near as big of an amp as Curse Mark 2, and even Curse Mark 2 is only like a 10 times amp, so not even a dozen. So Sasuke cannot keep up with Neji. But if I'm being honest, Neji just uses Tenketsu to take him out before Sasuke uses Chidori. He's not gonna let him charge up like a Chidori, that's weird. So in conclusion, Neji wins. Unless the distance between them is really great, and for some reason, Sasuke just uses Chidori straight off the bat. A lot of people probably didn't expect this outcome, since you're probably used to hearing that Sasuke wins this matchup. So hopefully you learned something. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you learned something new, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to watch more content like this, you should probably subscribe. Anyway, if you disagree or want to debate me on a topic, I will link my Discord down below. Thank you for watching the video, and peace out.